Hello and welcome back to Politics on the Prairie. I'm your host Dan Williams, or Spartan D34 depending on where you find me. And today we'll be going over the Cleveland County Commissioner Districts and my possible interpretation of a fix for them. Now, for those of you tuning in, you may notice that this is the second video that I've put out today. These videos, the voting age population change and the Cleveland County Commissioners map, were recorded back to back because I'm just feeling in a generous mood. I haven't made a lot of stuff in a while, and I've got a lot of good things lined up. But without further ado, why are we talking about this? Well, as you may have known, the Democrats of Oklahoma Democrats, successfully flipped a county commissioner district in rural Dewey County. And when I posted the update to my county commissioner partisan affiliation map, there were loads of comments about the lines, the county commissioner lines, in Cleveland County, looking quite gerrymandered. And well, I'm here today to talk about those lines. Now, I want to preface this all with, I'm not here to impugn the character of anybody who drew these lines, or the current county commissioners of Cleveland County. I'm here to offer my expertise of somebody who has redistricted across the state and across the nation, and somebody who's very familiar with the topic, as well as somebody who is an Oklahoma resident. Anyway, let's get into it. So here we have the current Cleveland County Commission lines. I don't know if these actually correspond to the actual districts. I don't think they do, so my apologies on that. We'll just turn off the district labels there. But what we have here, we can see here that Cleveland County is divided into 3 districts, as are all county commissions in the state of Oklahoma. And we can see here they're relatively within population of each other. Now, county commissioner districts have a much larger population deviation allowance than state house or state senate or congressional districts do. So you can see here a few thousand deviation either way. But these districts are sort of divided into several kind of zones, and we'll get into them. So this easternmost one, the dark red one, we'll just turn on regular map colors for now, is Thunderbird, Moore, East Norman, kind of the rural sector of Cleveland County. Kind of. Not really, though, because there's still a lot of people who live here in Moore, in the Eastern Norman part, but we'll go ahead and give it. Then in this blue district, we see, again, rural Cleveland County, but then it snakes around the purple district, goes through Moore, Oklahoma City, and then down into downtown Norman, which is, in my opinion, quite strange because, well, downtown Norman and rural northeastern Cleveland County are quite different areas. And then the last one, this big district here, goes all the way from southern Cleveland County, Slaughterville, McKinneyville, Lexington, all the way up to the Oklahoma City Airport. For some reason. Now, let me be honest with you. It's hard to draw county commissioner districts in a lot of counties. Cleveland County is not in the shape of a square, as you may have well noticed. So some districts may look a little bit strange, but this is very strange. And indeed, if one could probably come up with the idea that this is drawn to benefit one party. And if we look at this, well, that's kind of the result we get. So if we look at the composite here, now granted, Cleveland County has a bit of higher rate of third-party voting because there's a major university here, and major university areas tend to have a little bit higher third-party voting. But if we look at the dark red here, we can see it's an R+20 margin. We can look at the district right next to it, and it's an R+12 margin. And the district next to it, R+14.6, right? And this is in the composite. And compositely, Cleveland County is about, 55% Republican, 40% Democrat. But at 40% Democrat, you would expect at least one district to be slightly favorable to Democrats, right? Well, if I were to be asked to draw these districts today, or at very least at the time of redistricting, this is what I would have proposed. This set of districts meets a lot of requirements, in my opinion, that are necessary to follow when you're doing redistricting. 1. These districts are compact. They're not real snaky like the previous ones. 2. They represent actual communities of interest in Cleveland County. And 3. It is a little bit fairer than the previous districts we just covered. As you can see there, these districts are colored by partisan bent, and there is one Democratic district. Now, of course, you may say, oh, well, you just drew a Democratic district because you're a Democrat. You can very well lodge that complaint, but in my opinion, if an area is getting 40% of the Democratic vote and it's condensed enough, which if we turn off the partisan lean here, we can see it is very well condensed, then yeah, you should draw one, and many people in redistricting will hold that as fair. Well, let's go over my districts real quick and why I drew them the way they are. So I have district number 1 here, and it's all of urbanized Norman down here. Central Norman, it's 100,000. It's almost 100,000. You can see my deviations. My population deviations are much smaller than the other districts. And Western Norman here. It takes up most of the Democratic-leaning communities in downtown Norman, and then a bit of Western Norman. Now, the reason I didn't include this part of Norman is one, it would put me far above population deviation, and these areas tend to be a lot less denser and more rural in character in most cases. Sure, there's some suburban areas in here in District 3, we'll get into those when we get to District 3, but the lines have to be placed somewhere, right? Also, this is fairly compact. It's a nice little triangle square shape. A lot more compact than the spaghetti line than we saw previously. We get into District 2 here. This is mostly Oklahoma City with a bit of more, half of more here. See, Oklahoma City stretches down into Cleveland County quite far. Oh yeah, this is completely contained into Norman with a bit of the unincorporated parts of Cleveland County next to the river. Anyway, it's bounded on Eastern Avenue, which is a major arterial road in Cleveland County, and is pretty condensed. This area is pretty similar with itself. You can see it's all pretty red. It's all pretty suburban and mixed urban in character. And it's not stretching all the way to the rural sections of Cleveland County. Speaking of the rural sections of Cleveland County, we have District 3, we can see is the largest district in area. Very rural, surely with some urban sections here as we get towards Norman and towards Moore. Indeed, it does have a bit of half of the land area more, but most of the land area of Norman is around Lake Thunderbird. And then the ex-urban community of Noble and rural community of Slaughterville and Lexington. And it retains more of an unified character. And what this is really done to do, excuse me, what this is really drawn to do, there we go, is so that the rural communities of Cleveland County can have their representative, the urban, more Oklahoma City communities up here can have their representative, and the Norman community can have theirs. Norman's 127,000 people. You would expect it to be, of a county that's almost 300,000 people, expect it to roughly be one county commissioner district fully contained in it, right? So, and even having it bent like this doesn't necessarily mean it would elect a Democrat, right? It's only D plus 12, and if you get down ballot in Cleveland County, it tends to get redder. And this is just looking at top of the ballot results in most cases. So it might be fairly competitive. If we switch here to, let's say, President 2016, we can see that, well, it's only D plus 9. So it's not even drawn to really disadvantage the Republicans. But anyway, that's just my take on this. Certainly, comment your own and give your own opinion on what Cleveland County should look at. But I really want to address these concerns because a lot of our county commissioner lines look kind of strange. And frankly, I'd like to redraw a lot of them to help Oklahomans across the state. Again, not to impugn anybody's character. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to my second video of today. I don't think I'll put out a third because I have to go mow the lawn and it's starting to get a little later in the day. This has been Dan Williams with Politics on the Prairie, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a great day!